Hello everybody. This will be the lesson for Monday, February 1st. The 8A kids will get this sheet when they come to class, and the B-Day kids will get it on Tuesday. So I'm going to write 2, 1, and 2, 21. And what this is kind of a who's who of some of the more important volcanoes on Earth and their locations. Okay, here's a list of 22 that I think are important that have shown up in my class in the past for a variety of reasons, and they're located on this map. Okay, this is going to be very important for you to hang on to. Okay, and on the back is a brief bio of each one of those volcanoes and something that they've done and the reason they got put on my list. Okay. For example, number 14, it threatens one of the world's biggest cities, Mexico City, but it's on the list partially because it has the coolest name, Popocatépetl. Okay. It took me a long time of practice before I could say it right. Popocatépetl. Okay. All right. So that's 22. Look at all the possible tests and quiz questions I could ask you about this, okay, and their locations. Okay, so remember, 8A kids will get this on Monday, B-Day kids will get this on Tuesday. There's nothing you have to write on this, but you have to hang on to it, because look at all the notes you didn't have to write. Okay, and then also on Monday, the 8A kids will get this sheet, and the B-Day kids will have to rough it and not get it until Tuesday the 2nd. Okay, now these are the video notes that go along. It's a video sheet that go along with the National Geographic video, Volcano Nature's Inferno. Okay, we're continuing with plate tectonics. We've wrapped up earthquakes. Now we're going to volcanoes. Okay, now here's what I need the B-Day kids to do. You have to be tough. Okay, we're probably going to get through half of the video today, and yet you don't have the video sheets in front of you if you're a B-Day kid. Listen for how many volcanoes there are on Earth. It's an approximate number. How many people died in this field trip of volcanologists. Okay. Try to hear them say how much they think the Earth's core temperature gets to, the degrees Fahrenheit. This is an important one. You're supposed to already know this one. 80% of volcanoes occur at blank zones. This isn't a question, but you have to know this. The Hawaiian Islands are not on the Ring of Fire. Okay? 80% of volcanoes are produced at blank zones. The Hawaiian Islands are part of the other 20%. Okay? And then one of the main ideas of the video is volcanologists, scientists who study volcanoes, risk their lives to save other people. They're not doing this to get famous or rich. Okay? They hope to be able to someday predict eruptions. And the key to making predictions about the future is understanding the past. Okay? We'll be lucky if we get that far on today's video. So that would be basically 4 things the B-Day kids need to listen to see if they can get. And I'll give you this sheet. You can write them down on Tuesday when I see you. All right. I'm going to hit play. This is a really, 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 really good video. Really good video.
The rocky heights of the Andes in South America are more than mere mountains. Many are sleeping volcanoes.
Or really yummy mints.
In Colombia, a peak called Galeras has slumbered more than 4 decades. Then in 1988, soldiers stationed at its summit reported small earthquakes and the smell of sulfur. Some 6 miles away, the city of Pasto is built on rich volcanic soil, the pride of local farmers.
Stuff grows in that soil like crazy.
Galeras has never harmed Pasto, but a large eruption could threaten up to 400,000 lives.
Whew.
Colombian officials invited Stanley Williams, of Arizona State University to work with local volcanologists. An expert on Latin American volcanoes, Williams helped organize the International Galeras Workshop in January 1993.
Pay attention to his hair. There's a reason.
Close to 100 volcanologists from 15 nations attend. After 3 days of meetings, they head for the summit.
Volcano geeks.
For 6 months.
These are all volcano scientists.
Assigned to Williams and his colleagues.
Notice the hair.
With a lot of experience. We had been working for 5 years by that time on this volcano. We thought we understood Galeras. In fact, we thought Galeras was in a relatively calm time for an active volcano.
They're going.
Most scientists join field trips on the outer slopes of the mountain. Williams leads a group of 12 on a grueling 2-hour hike to the inner crater. As his colleagues explore the terrain, Williams keeps watch.
He's responsible. It was his idea to go.
Everybody opened up their cases and backpacks and collected samples of the gases and read the gravimeter. Jack Brown, professor from England, is the expert of the world on how to use gravity in volcanoes. The 2 Colombian scientists with him were really happy that they had a chance to work with Jeff. Igor Manilov is a Russian who comes from a family of volcanologists. Igor was working that day with Nestor Garcia, and Nestor's a Colombian, very good friend. It was an exciting, positive field day. All of a sudden, with no warning, we began to hear a lot of noise. I looked down into the crater at Igor and Nestor, and I yelled, "We better get out of here now."
They're inside of the crater.
I made it.
Watch, those blobs are going up orange, red hot, and they come down black.
Knocked a big hole in my head. Broke my jaw, ruined my ear. Made it another 20, 30 feet, I don't know, not very far. A lot of rocks hit me, but the next big one broke my left leg, shattered my right leg. I tried to run, but my foot was dangling. It was hardly attached to my leg.
That's what hit him.
I crawled. The problem was I was on fire. So I had to roll over and try to get the fire out. So I crawled behind a big rock.
The eruption spares everyone on the outer slopes. But members of Williams' group appear at the summit with grim reports. At least 2 scientists are dead.
More than that.
Names of the missing are quickly tallied.
Andrew, Mike, yo, Stanley, y José Arles.
Look, the holes melted and burned in his coat.
With help, can make it up. With help. Okay. Not by themselves. Yeah.
Look at the vehicle.
Within 15 minutes,
Windows are smashed.
the eruption is over. Now, Williams struggles to remain conscious.
I had hours of time lying there with dead people very close, and thought about going home and being with my wife and kids. I didn't want to die, that's for sure.
Less than 3 hours after the eruption, rescue teams arrive from Pasto.
All right, you're going to see dead people.
3 hikers and 6 volcanologists are dead.
9 people.
Last, no one could foresee.
There's a body bag. There's another dead
Several
person.
bodies will never be found.
There's a dead person. Now,
Rescuers locate.
looks like he's smiling.
Out for help.
See how his big smile?
He's the last survivor lifted off the mountain.
That's not a smile.
In 48 hours, he'll be flown by Learjet to a hospital in Arizona.
All right, let me tell you what happened to him. Okay, when I was mentioning his hair, okay, he has a big bald spot on the back of his head now from when he got hit by a red hot chunk of rock. It cracked his skull, burned his scalp. When his scalp healed, the scar is bald. Okay, he was knocked on his face, which broke his nose and his jaw. So when I said, look, see him smiling, he wasn't smiling. His jaw is broken. He can't close his mouth. Okay, his ear, one of his ears was ripped off and hanging by a flap of skin. Okay, his camera strap is melted into his back. Both legs were shattered. I think broken eardrum, so he has some hearing loss in one ear. And he got to watch his friends die, and he was responsible. He was the safety guy. It was his idea to make this trip. So, ugh. He does not do this for the fame or the money. Notice the leg. He can hardly move that ankle.
16 surgeries saved a mangled leg and patched a hole in William's skull. Skin grafts hide burns. A hearing aid remedies a ruined ear. Only his determination survives intact.
If this kind of thing interests you,
Galeras
I have a book
remains
that he wrote about this ordeal. You could borrow it.
A danger undiminished by the tragedy of 9 deaths.
I believe everybody in that photo died except
The
Stan.
loss of friends and colleagues breaks the heart,
That was
but
taken.
strengthens the will.
That was taken the day they died.
I've worked on Galeras now for about 8 years, and I've tried hard to essentially get control of Galeras. And Galeras says, no, I can't be controlled. I'm much bigger than you, Mr. Williams. And I come back and say, no, I'm not going to let you do that. I'm going to come back and I'm going to get on top of Galeras. And I have been on top of Galeras. I have been in the crater again. I'm sort of battling it out.
In the past 5 decades, nearly 30 scientists have died in eruptions. Volcanology is a young and dangerous science, one that pits us against the power of the Earth itself. We live on a fiery planet. Nearly 2,000 miles beneath our feet, the Earth's inner core reaches temperatures of 12,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Molten rock, or magma, rises to the Earth's surface, a cold, rigid crust fractured into some 20 plates. When magma breaks through crust, it becomes lava and gives birth to volcanoes.
This is in Hawaii.
Most blossom along the unstable boundaries where one plate dives beneath another, or 2 plates spread apart. Earth's oceans conceal some 80% of all volcanic activity. An underwater ridge 46,000 miles long marks the boundaries between spreading plates. Lava fills the gaps.
Underwater lava flow. It's sort of like fireworks snakes.
This deep-sea fire fuels hot springs. At more than 700 degrees Fahrenheit, water rich in sulfur supports an entire ecosystem in the total absence of sunlight. Some volcanoes rise from the deep. November 1963. Just south of Iceland, fishermen report explosions.
This was in the ocean. A brand new island.
the windswept Isle of Surtsey is born.
1963, brand new island.
Earth's fire also forged a tropical paradise. The Hawaiian Islands are the work of a single plume of magma burning its way across the Pacific Plate.
Look, it goes up red hot and comes down black. It's
There may be
cooling
no
that
finer
fast.
setting for the spectacle of the living Earth.
Look at that lava flow. It's gonna make obsidian when it hits the water.
With nearly continuous eruptions dating back to 1790, Kilauea is the most active volcano on Earth and one of the most benign. At 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, its fluid lava can flow for miles and ruin real estate. But it can generally be escaped at a brisk walk.
Black and white
This
movies.
congenial fire has been attracting tourists for over a century. It also captured the attention of an eminent East Coast geologist, Thomas Jagger. He believed the only way to know a crater is to live with it. A visit to Kilauea in 1909 convinced him he had found the most livable volcano in the world. In Jagger's day, volcanology meant little more than a short-term expedition.
If you got
to the
a
aftermath
gas
of
mask for the
a
dog.
eruption. It was too little, too late.
Look at this. This looks like a really bad idea. If you fall, imagine what it's going to be.
In 1912, Jagger founded what today is called the Hawaii Volcano Observatory. Serving 3 decades as director, he measured earthquakes, collected gases, and charted subtle changes in Kilauea slopes. Eventually, he successfully predicted several eruptions. Many consider him a founding father of modern volcanology.
Look at that. My
Today,
goodness.
Hawaii's volcanoes are the best studied in the world. Decades of first-hand observations are revealing patterns. and
Those are asbestos gloves.
Predicting eruptions is almost routine.
Red hot going up, cools off to black coming down.
Each volcano is unique, with its own pulse, its own life cycle. But one rule of forecasting applies to all. The key to the future is the past. Sakurajima, the island of fire in southern Japan. A nobleman commissioned these watercolors to commemorate an eruption in 1779. Written accounts of this volcano's fury date back to the 8th century. Sakurajima is home to some 7,000 people. Another 500,000 live just across the bay. This is life at the foot of an active volcano. Sakurajima has been consistently active since 1955.
See that? It caused lightning.
It erupts up to 400 times a year.
That's
It
more.
drops millions of tons of ash on its surroundings.
That's the average of more than one eruption per day. Look how dark it's getting in the middle of the daytime.
Local scientists forecast these outbreaks with impressive accuracy. Residents tune in for ashfall reports.
Like we watch the weather, they watch the volcano report.
Eruptions are as commonplace as changes in the weather. And ash cleanup is a way of life.
This is like us with snow. Watch what they have to put up with. Yuck. Look, an ash man.
Soil enriched with ash yields prime produce, such as loquats.
That's the second time
Each fruit requires individual protection.
they've mentioned how rich
airborne assault,
volcanic soil is.
as does every school child on Sakurajima.
Haha. Because they have to wear.
Most ash collects on the volcano slopes, harmless, until it rains.
This can kill you. Volcanic mud flow.
In a flash, rivers can swell into mud flows that wash out roads and bridges. Safety channels equipped with sensors and surveillance cameras help contain the threat. Volcanic mud flows can travel up to 40 miles an hour and sweep up boulders the size of cars. When the rains end, tons of deposits are dumped in the sea. It's a model system, but at any moment, Sakurajima could break all the rules.
They clean that out all the time.
1914, lava buries 6 villages. More than half the islanders lose their homes. 23 drown trying to swim to the mainland. The anniversary of the 1914 disaster is observed each year with an evacuation drill.
They evacuate the whole island.
Residents abandon their homes to the volcano.
An annual drill.
A long, familiar history of eruptions keeps these volcano dwellers vigilant. Consider them lucky. Most volcanoes lay quiet for centuries, then take us by surprise. A few of the deadliest have been labeled extinct. Some 35 centuries ago, a Mediterranean island sparkles with art and science. Then suddenly, Santorini blows itself apart. Seawater rushes in where once stood a mountain, and a civilization vanishes beneath the waves. The legend of Atlantis still haunts the place today. 79 AD.
You know about this one.
Pompeii realized Mount Vesuvius is a volcano. Those who know believe it will not harm them. Showers of scalding ash seal them in their final agony. (1850), Mount Tambora, Indonesia. Some 20 cubic miles of debris are launched sky high. Most fall back to Earth. A cloud of ash circles the globe for several years, blocking the sun. 1860 is the year without a summer. In Europe and New England, snow falls in July.
It screwed up the weather everywhere.
And 80,000 starve. It's the most powerful eruption in the last 10,000 years.
Oh,
By contrast,
I was in 8th grade when this happened.
the explosion of Mount St. Helens was almost 80 times smaller. Yet it packed the punch of 500 atomic bombs. Magma contains gases that expand violently as they reach Earth's atmosphere. It's like pulling.
That's viewed from space. That's a volcano being
the size of Mount Everest.
observed from the space shuttle. That's from like 250 miles up.
A volcano need not explode to be deadly. Lava too thick to flow can ooze up slowly and form a teetering heap of hot rock.
I'm going to stop that right there. That's volcano's deadliest killer is going to happen right there. It's called a pyroclastic flow. Okay, I'm at 26 minutes already. I'm going to end it here for that, for day 1. And look forward to seeing everybody Monday or Tuesday.